All right, we are live. Hello and welcome, everybody. Samir is with us. Samir is an immigration lawyer and from Silicon Valley. So, Samir, I did your intro for you.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully people know by now.
Yes. I think somebody said the NTA guy. It was
Oh
funny.
no, he's a guy who delivers MTAs. No, no. Hopefully not anymore because it looks like it's coming to an end, thankfully. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
For those of you who are new to this, we do this every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. California time and 4 p.m. East Coast time, where we answer any immigration questions you may have. Uh, okay, and then of course this is disclaimer for everybody. This is not supposed to be a consultation.
This is
Yeah,
not legal advice for your case. It's general information and education
yeah,
as to
yeah.
immigration law.
Right. But Samir, I want to start with
Yeah.
the new change in the appointments. Like I guess now people can only book appointments in your in their home country. But if you can like do a synopsis of like what's going on over there.
Well, it's always been the case
Yeah.
that you it's always been like a best practice to get your visa in your home country. That being said, people who are savvy enough to figure it out, especially after their first visa, let's say their second H1B visa, you've technically been able to go to various countries around the world. We call them third countries as a third country national to get your visa processed. India backlogs for 4 months. Go to Vietnam, go to Singapore, go to the Caribbean, right?
Hmm.
And those in the know have been able to figure out which of those consulates have been receptive to taking third country nationals, and that's
Hmm.
been the case for many, many, many years, right?
Hmm.
So this policy that came out last week, it's a new State Department policy, and they are now restricting people to apply only in their home country.
Hmm. For
Okay.
all visa types or just
For
F1 visa?
all non-immigrant visa types. So H1s, F1s, L1s, you name it. Now that being said, the policy has been implemented. Whether it's being executed like that, is this going to be on a case-by-case basis? For example, I had a client whose wife, Indian, just got her H1B stamp approved on, what is today, Wednesday? On Tuesday in Mexico City.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, I'm not saying everybody here can go to Mexico City because they may stop that today, right?
Right.
She may have just got in just before that consulate was able to quickly adjust to this
Hmm.
change. Because what I've seen now, the other feature I've seen of this administration and of large bureaucratic organizations in general, and nobody's talking to each other. Often they're issuing these policies and they haven't even notified their own offices of this
Hmm.
policy. So usually what I find is that probably all the consulates now are scrambling to address this policy and kind of figure out their processes.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. So previously people were just like, oh, can I go to Canada and get it stamped or Mexico?
Yeah, and often not Canada because the Canada waits are pretty long too, but Mexico, Western Europe, the UK, France, etc., the Caribbean has been a popular one. Singapore, Vietnam have been popular
Mm,
ones,
mm,
but it's no longer safe to do so because what will happen if you do? I'm not saying you're not going to get the visa approved. Maybe you will. It's really up to the discretion of the officer whether they have their stuff in order to deny
mm,
you. But there's this policy in place, and there's a very, very high chance that they'll issue a 221G, hold on to your passport, and then deny you, and you'll be stuck in that country, right? Now, of
mm,
course, if you get a 221G, you can always withdraw the case, get your passport back, but you can't come back to the US if you have an expired visa stamp.
mm.
So the best practice now is just to go and apply in your home country.
Wow. Okay. Mm. There's more and more delays, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is not a bug, as they like to say. It is a feature of this particular administration.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any new updates in terms of, I know there were two rules that are, I think this audience is really interested in. And one is the wage level H1B. I know it's in commenting period. Have you heard any kind of progress
No,
updates?
but they did make some sort of like a vague, kind of cryptic announcement that they're going to be making changes to the H1B cap exempt process too. So I think they're making some big changes. They're trying to make some big changes to the H1B program.
Mm,
And they're going to be tightening up restrictions for consultants. So, if you're working at client sites,
Yeah.
I think they're going to make those even harder. They said that they're going to codify, meaning they're going to actually make it a rule as opposed to just a policy. But the employer-employee kind of relationship as it pertains to on-site employment, a client-side employment, they're going to make that into the regulations so that future administrations can't just discard of that policy. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming up to restrict the H1B. And with the this news of what's happening in Georgia with that Hyundai plant had nothing really to do with H1Bs, but it's really brought this idea of kind of work visas, from other countries taking U.S. jobs as a general kind of position of this administration to be an important one. And even though it bears no resemblance to the reality of what's actually happening, it's everything that we've seen has been to signal to it's been performative, is to display some sort of action kind of consistent with protecting U.S. workers, and so we expect whatever the H1B rule is going to be, we expect that to be kind of along the lines. We just don't know what that is yet because we haven't seen it.
Yeah, and nothing on F1 visa as well.
Nothing there yet. No.
Okay, cool. So we'll go to Q&A. And then another question I keep getting asked, because a lot of people are starting their STEM OPT now, because maybe that's the season that they are in. One of the common question I've got is, hey, I've been doing unpaid volunteer job with nonprofit or something. I haven't found like a paid position for STEM OPT. I need to be on paid role. Can I have my uncle's company or friend's company run the payroll for me? And is this bad? What are the consequences for it? And I was like, I'll ask you. I'll ask you.
Well, keep in mind that when you're doing the STEM OPT, you are required to submit the training plan to your school, right? This training plan's I-983. Everyone take a look at that. Everyone who has questions, take a look at this form, right? Because it has certifications from you, and it has certifications from whoever your employer is. So if the employer, it's never wrong to have your uncle or your friend be your employer. That's not what's wrong. What's wrong is them acting like they're your employer when they're really not. Okay. And they're also putting themselves at risk if that's the case, because they're the ones who are going to have to sign this I-983 form under the penalty of perjury, right? Attesting to the fact that they're supervising your work, that they're conducting check-ins, that they're acting in the normal course of training and employment for you. And if they're not doing that, the good test would be, what would happen if the government were to conduct a site visit or some sort of audit? Would the relationship pass muster, right? That should be what you're thinking, okay? If that were the case and you feel like, no, there's no way that would pass muster, then you have your answer. You should not be doing it, okay? Because first of all, that should always be your analysis when it comes to immigration and complying with rules here in the U.S. But number two, especially now in this administration, there's a really high likelihood that these visits will actually occur, right? So read the 983 form, look at all the attestations, one has to make under the penalty of perjury. And does everyone know what perjury means? Like, perjury means like if you're lying, you're lying under oath, right? That carries a criminal sentence.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll start with this question. These days, is it better to be on H1B or O1 with an employer for STEM engineering position, given the increasing H1B scrutiny?
I wouldn't say there's increasing H1B scrutiny to force you to move over to a different visa. Like, I don't think it's that bad for STEM fields. And keep in mind, the majority of people are on H1Bs and will continue to be with no kind of adverse consequences. Like, we're talking about the edge cases, we're talking about consultants and working at client sites and those type of situations. But for standard STEM engineering positions, I think the H1B is still safe. The analysis about H1B versus O1 is not so much about that. It's more about other considerations, right? is, for example, are you a founder? Or are you working at an early stage startup? If you are, then the salary required for the H1B may be a burden, right? Because a lot of it is startups trying to save money, trying to award equity in lieu of salary, which you cannot do on the H1B, but you can do on the L1, right? So maybe the L1 is a better situation for that. So it's very situationally specific. The L1 may be a little bit harder for travel than the H1B, believe it or not. The L1 is not always consistent with the green card process. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but the H1B always is. So there's lots of different factors you got to look into in making that decision. Once again, if there's something specific that you're worried about, I would suggest you give us a call and talk to us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm currently on an employment-based green card. The global entry form asking for employment history since September 2020. Should I list only main jobs or also side gigs, Uber, Lyft?
I am guessing that you do not have authorization. Oh, you're on an employment-based green card. Are you on a green card or are you in the green card process? I guess is the question that I have for you. Do you have the green card already? Maybe if you can answer that question for me, we can come back to it, because that's a big deal. In any case, you need to talk to a lawyer and get specific advice for this very specific circumstance. But I do want to give some general advice here once we get that question answered.
Okay. I'll wait for that. Here is another one. Just wanted to ask if we can make our social media accounts private after entering United States.
I think so. I think you need them public for when you go through the visa stamping and entry process, right? But once you're in the US, I don't see any reason why you can't make it private.
Yeah. Yes, I'm currently on green card.
So if you're on a green card, list everything. List all work that you're doing. The global entry, first of all, you're allowed to do the side gigs, Uber, Lyft. Why would you want to hide that? Right. Always tell the full truth, especially to immigration offices. Okay. There's nothing they hate more than partial truths and lies. Okay. Or withholding of information. Right. So the global entry and by the global entry is a zero tolerance policy. Like if you make one small transgression, you can lose it. Right. So certainly list everything and be, err on the side of over inclusion there.
What's global entry program? Is it the one where you don't have to go through the immigration?
So global entry is, yes, it's where you don't have to go through the immigration line. You can kind of go through the separate line because you've already been pre-vetted. So the idea is if you're eligible, just Google global entry and check out the requirements there. Not everyone is eligible, but if you're eligible, then the idea is you apply. You're interviewed, you're vetted, your criminal history is reviewed. You're deemed to be low risk at that point. Then you are able to, after international travel, when you come back into the US, you don't have to go through immigration anymore and stand in lines. You can go through a separate line, and it's much faster. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Nice. Okay. My program end date was May 15, 2025. In March, I added a new concentration as advised and received a new I-20 on June 11th, but it is still showed May 2025. I was later told my service was marked completed, even though I'm still enrolled. Since it is now September, I'm very worried about my status. Could you please advise if there is a way to correct my I-20 end date and reactivate my service to reflect?
Definitely check in with the school here. When you say the service is completed, do you mean it's terminated? This is the responsibility of your school, and you should not be talking to us. You should be making sure you get every ounce of information from them, since they are the ones who are responsible for maintaining and completing your data on their database. So definitely talk to them. Once you have a full answer for them, then come talk to a lawyer.
Yeah. Okay. On remote job, OPT remote job, USCIS lost I-797, have only I-129 approval courtesy copy, have H1B stamp appointment on 29th September. If there is an issue at point of entry, can employer file location change amendment premium while I'm in India?
Yeah. I understand what happened here. You have the courtesy copy, which means well, that generally, I won't get into how that can happen. It may not be that USCIS lost it. It could have been something that the law firm or company did. In any case, you have the I-129 approval, which is a courtesy copy, which you don't need the actual copy original of the official notice for your stamping. Okay, you just need a copy of it. And the government will have, and the consulate will have a copy of it themselves too. So you don't need it. Port of entry, the courtesy copy should be fine because you're processing through the consulate and you're coming in to activate it. But yes, the employer can file an amendment. I doubt they will. That's an extra cost. But they can file an amendment while you're gone and do it for consular processing. I just don't think you have enough time. You only have 19 days between now and your appointment. Well, I guess you need it before you can come in, and maybe you can wait till you travel into the U.S. So in theory, they could. Yeah. What they also, if they premium process the last case where they lost I-797, then you can the law firm can email premium processing unit and ask them to set a duplicate. We do that all the time.
Okay. All right. Ganesh is asking, if my OPT application is denied after my I-20 end date has already passed, do I immediately fall out of status or do I still get a grace period?
It's a question for you or a close friend. I'm just kidding.
Ganesh is a friend of mine. I met him rally.
Okay. And I'm just giving him a hard time. Yeah. No problem. So if the OPT is denied after the I-20 end date has passed, do you fall out of status or do you get a grace period? You don't get a grace period. Whether you're out of status is a separate question because you have to look at the denial notice of the OPT. Does it specifically say you're out of status? Remember, the new rule would say your status ends on a certain date, right? Until then, you're in duration of status, which means you don't technically fall out of status and accrue unlawful presence, okay? But it's not good to continue to being here because it could really impact one's ability to get visa stamps in the future. So I would check with the school to make sure, be on the same page as the school about all this information. But it sounds like, and check with an attorney on this, but it sounds like this person is going to have to leave the country ASAP.
Okay. And by the way, Ganesh I asked him what he was thinking from an immigration standpoint. And he said you bring a lot of young energy to the show. So I was like, oh.
I bring you or me?
You.
Thank you for telling my 51-year-old self that.
You are 51.
Keep saying it, please. I need to hear this every 2 to 3 weeks.
He's saying it's marked as completed. I think this is the SEBIS thing.
Yeah, check with the school, Joey. Make sure you're on the same page with them. Ask them what it means to your status. Make sure you get a full explanation in writing from them. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I deferred from spring to fall for the same university and program. University issued a new I-20 with my new SEBIS ID. Can I travel with a valid visa, valid through December 2029?
Is the I-20 annotated for travel? Basically, has the school given you permission to travel is the question that I have. And we're in the fall now, so I would assume you can, but check.
I think what Rucha is asking is that she had an admit in spring, which she deferred it for fall. So now, and she had gotten her F1 visa at that time, which is until December.
Right, but she's saying she got a new I-20 now, right? Yeah. So it seems like she can travel. I don't see what the problem is here. I guess you're worried because you deferred earlier.
That's my guess.
But so long as you're maintaining your status and you're following the rules, right?
Well, she would have never entered United States. That's my guess.
Well, I guess, is she here now? I guess is the question that I have. Yeah, and talk to the school. Make sure I-20 is annotated for travel, and maybe let us know kind of where you're at right now.
Yeah. Okay. I noticed a name discrepancy across my documents. My passport has no surname, given name Mohammed, but my F1 visa, state ID, and bank account list name, my name as FNU Mohammed.
Yes, the pesky FNU LNU situation here. So for you, it's LNU, last name unknown, right? But sometimes they mistake it and they call it FNU, and they'll do what they want. They do what they feel is better. I think it's okay. I've never run across a problem. I've seen this happen many times, is what I'm trying to say. I've never seen anybody actually run across a practical issue with it. Like it's easily explained. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what his question is.
On applications in the future, always put what it is, right? Like as you are doing. So it should be, Muhammad LNU under last name. And then the government will do what they want to do, but at least you're doing your best to tell the truth. So.
Yeah. Okay. Can international students comment on new H1B proposal?
I think so. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I'm not sure they would listen to you. I'm not sure they'll listen to me, for that matter. But sure, I think it's the general public, and if you're here, you stand to be affected by it. So definitely make your voice heard.
Yeah. Would I run with any visa stamping issues or OPT issues if I change from Masters in Data Science to Masters in Computer Science after my second semester?
So long as the change is in accordance with the school process and the normal process, and you follow the rules and all the reporting, there shouldn't be any issues. Data science to computer science, I know they're completely different to you. To the rest of us, they sound the same or very similar to each other. So we don't see it as a huge difference. And secondly, visa stamping has nothing to do technically with your major. It's, are you maintaining your F1 status? That's the key question. So make sure you are maintaining your F1 status as you navigate the change in majors and in degree programs. And then your OPT just has to be related to whatever your degree is in. Okay.
Yep. I see a question here, Karan, asking how they can reach out to you. Again, link will be the first link in the description. You can just fill that form and Samir or his team will reach out to you. Okay. All right. Just wanted, I think we already answered that. Okay, here's some math question. My visa valid till December 2026 has a different college and service ID. I'm currently working on OPT under new college, day one CPT and service ID. I want to travel to India in December. Will I face issues re-entering?
That is a great question. I don't believe so, but I'll need to check on that. I actually don't know the answer to that question because every visa has a certain rule about, like the H1B is agnostic of employer. It can name an employer and you can use it for another employer, right? The O1, I believe, is the same, but other visas are not. So I would need to check on that and get back to you. You can also ask your school that they would probably know.
Yeah. And Rucha says initial entry. So this is gonna be.
This would be your initial. So she's not here right now.
Yeah.
I see. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
See, you would have to worry about, were you here when the change happened? Did you fall out of status during the time? You weren't even here, right? You're making your initial entry. You follow the rules. You have an I-20 for your upcoming program. It sounds like you have everything you need. Double check with the school to see if there's anything that you're missing.
Okay. Follow up on lost I-797. Can we do location change amendment? And while it's pending, can we go for stamping? If it's still pending, can we return on courtesy copy? Does the pending case affect travel?
Pending case doesn't affect travel if it's an amendment. No. But I would rather you not do it. It doesn't, but why? Why do it? Why not do it after? At the end of the day, this is going to be your company's decision and their law firm's decision. I don't think it really affects what's happening at the consulates or your travel. But I feel like it doesn't necessarily complicate your story, right? Which is part of the visa stamping process, part of the travel into the U.S. And while you're not misrepresenting anything. It's just you're adding more things to talk about, which is you kind of don't want to do. You want to keep things as simple as possible.
Yeah. To whom it may help, I'm an OPT and transfer student. I'm employed and recently traveled to India with all required documents and came back. Immigration went smooth. Thank you for updating us.
That's it.
Yeah, that was the question.
Oh, he's just letting everyone know he had a good entry. It's a big deal. Yeah, this day it's just like nothing is certain anymore, right? So yeah, it's good to hear good news.
Yes.
But by the way, you call me Mr. NTA, right? Maybe I am Mr. NTA, or the NTA guy, because we did get one case terminated recently for somebody who has an AOS pending based on AC-21. So like had a 545 filed and was just on AOS pending with no underlying H1B. And that was scary because actually there's no statute that would say she's not removable. But the ICE attorney called me and was like, what is going on here? I'm like, you tell me this is your client that issued the NTA. But she called me and she, after a bunch of questions, she's like, this doesn't sound like there should be an NTA here. So she went ahead and dismissed the NTA herself.
Oh, wow.
So and it's been a crazy time. Lots of mean things happening. I also want to point out the positive things that happen. And sometimes you have good officers, good lawyers, and the government side that do the right thing.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you this in the beginning. Are the NTAs pretty much done now, or you still?
It looks like it. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some from the very beginning of August, but none since, and I haven't received any inquiries. So it looks like if there was a problem, which it seems like there was, it looks like it's been fixed. But we'll continue to update you.
Yeah. Okay. Can a laid-off H4 EAD claim unemployment benefits without any immigration issues in future?
I believe so. So you have to, the state, whether or not you're eligible is a matter of state law. I believe you are, but I can't memorize 50 state laws. And in California, you have to be able to show that you're eligible to take up work if and when you get it. So H1Bs, for example, can't show that because they need sponsorship. Right. So that's why H1Bs can't claim unemployment. Right. But if you're on EAD, you can because you don't need sponsorship. You can start working right away. Right. So from a kind of unemployment law issue, unemployment insurance issue, you probably can. And yeah, I don't think it causes any immigration issues if you claim unemployment insurance.
Okay. I'm on F1 visa. My initial OPT is expired and I applied for STEM OPT extension in June, still pending. My H1B was picked in April and the petition was filed in June, also pending. If after October 1st, both STEM OPT and H1B are still pending, do I have valid work authorization to continue working? If yes, till when? And if either H1B STEM OPT gets rejected?
I'm going to answer this question generally because this person, you should talk to an attorney if you want a clear answer as to where you stand. Okay, don't rely on this as your answer because you have a lot at stake, right? If something goes wrong, you don't want to rely on somebody's general answer on a podcast when your life is at stake. But generally speaking, if the STEM OPT is pending, it's pending for how long? 180 days, right? I mean, it's pending for whatever it's pending for, but you're allowed to work for 180 days, right? So long as that's the case, you are allowed to work and you're in F1 status, right? And then when the H1B is kicked in, I'm assuming it's change of status. Then when the H1B is approved, your status will change to H1B, right? If the STEM OPT is rejected, that's a problem. You have to leave right away. And an H1B hasn't been processed, you have to leave. If the H1B is rejected, then you remain in STEM OPT. So long as it's, hopefully by that time it's approved. But, so long as you can claim F1 status.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. So if the STEM OPT is, yes, the STEM OPT is rejected, you have to leave. I was going to say, well, you have an H1B pending, so how come you can't stay on the basis of that? But the underlying basis of the change of status is that you're in status, right? So if your status is gone, then you can't change status technically, right? So you would have to leave, and I would definitely talk to an attorney about that.
Yeah. I'm studying masters in global supply chain management at Purdue. I plan to travel to India for the 2026 summer break for 45 days and will be back to campus for fall 2026 semester. Will there be any issues, and can we land in any city after coming back from India, or it has to be closest to the campus? Oh wow. People are planning for like next summer.
Wow. Well, she's booking her flights. It's a fair question.
Yeah, true. Yes.
By the way, big game this weekend. USC and Purdue, right? I think they're playing in football.
Oh, yes.
I'm suddenly become a big college football fan again. Okay, so I don't think it matters where you land, so long as you have a good reason. I mean, you might get like the what do you call it? The mean kind of overbearing
Officer, yeah.
control freak officer who's going to try to give you a hard time for it. Just have a good answer.
Yeah.
Right? Visiting a friend. I'm coming here for a couple days and I'm going to school. Like what they're getting at is, are you really coming to take a job that you're not authorized to work at? Yeah. Or what are you doing? Are you really going to miss school? So if you have a really good, sensible reason as to why you're flying into that location, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. And as far as summer break question, like for 45 days?
I mean, isn't that what a lot of people do?
Yeah.
What's wrong? So long as you have the documents you need to travel and re-enter, make sure you check with your school on that. But yeah, that didn't sound like a problem.
Yeah. They just need your approval.
I mean, I would encourage a lot of students. I'm not sure if I know you want to hear it from a lawyer, but honestly, like I know what I know. It's not always a lot when it comes to F1 stuff, but you know why? Because most lawyers don't deal with F1 issues. We don't even, we have very few clients who are students because most of their stuff is administered by the school. And usually schools have lots and lots of good resources that are created by lawyers to help you navigate all these questions. So make sure it's becoming more and more important that you make sure that you are reading your resources and becoming knowledgeable of what you can and can't do yourself, right? You are going to be held responsible for it. Okay. And it's fine to ask us, and that's good that you're here to ask these questions, but also read whatever materials your school has to offer you as well. And make sure you're very, very conversant in that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on STEM OPT, postdoc, PhD, okay, with expired F1 entry STEM. I'm looking to travel to India for family and attend job interviews. Is it advisable to renew F1 stamping on STEM OPT? I
mean, yeah, there's no problem by virtue of you having STEM OPT. It's just the whole F1 stamping issue that every student's going to have to go through now. It's just going to be an onerous process with the social media aspect. So just make sure you're covered on that end, and make sure you're planning for the amount of time you might be stuck in India. If that's where you're going. Yeah, you're going to India while you're waiting for your visa stamping to process.
Yeah. Is it safe to travel in winter to our home country? Assuming it's for a break. I mean, we don't have a lot of context.
Are we talking weather-wise? Yeah, maybe a little bit more context there. What is worrying you specifically?
Yeah. And Lavanya, I think we answered this question. Maybe you can just go back to the first part of the stream. Okay. There's a lot of buzz online about cracking an Owens next. Is it true or just fake news?
It's hard to say. That's a good question. It's hard to say right now. But what's that?
What's going on?
I'm hearing this too. Just like the government's going to crack down on just making everything harder, right? So if you are paying attention to like kind of government data, like there's like very high approval rates for the O1, and there historically has been for quite a while now. So if you know this government, that's not something that'll make them very happy, right? So I haven't heard anything specific about them making the O1 harder, but I would not be surprised. Yeah.
Okay. My H1B transfer petition reached USCIS on day 60, and my I-94 is valid until 2027. In the event of denial, how long would I remain in authorized stay, and what fallback options would be available?
Okay. So this is general information. Make sure to talk to your lawyer about the actual specifics as it applies to you. But you're cutting it close here. Wow, day 60. So hopefully you're premium processing this. Like, this is something you need a resolution on pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to do that. If there was an H1B denial, then you are immediately out of status. Okay. But everyone understand the difference between being out of status and unlawfully present. Yudi, do you know what the difference is?
No.
This is a really important distinction. Okay. Being out of status is, in this case, in PK's case, the H1B is denied, but the I-94 is valid to 2027, right? But the I-94 is predicated on him holding a job, right? So if he's not holding an H1B job, I'm sorry, it could be a she. But anyways, if they are not holding an H1B job, right, they are not in status, right? Even though there's a valid I-94. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's not good in the sense that you're out of status. You could be deported. You could have a harder time getting a visa stamp in the future, as the number of days of status get larger and larger, right? Unlawfully present means you overstayed your expiration. Okay. And once you overstay your expiration, that's when you start accruing penalties. That's when it gets really severe. 6 months, if you've been unlawfully present for 6 months or more, up to a year, you'd be barred from reentry for 3 years. If you're unlawfully present for more than a year, you're barred for reentry for 10 years. So if he overstayed past 2027, the I-94 expiration date, he'd be unlawfully present.
But then out of status, let's say his H1B gets denied, or their H1B gets denied, and they're still staying in United States. Is that unlawfully present, or are they?
So the I-94 is still valid, right? So they are not unlawfully present, but they're out of status. They're overstaying, they're out of status, they're illegally here, out of status.
Okay.
But unlawfully present is the term you use when you want to know if you're going to be barred from reentry by statute, right? Yeah. And that doesn't happen until you overstay an expiration.
Gotcha. Okay. But are the consequences same? Like if I'm out of status and still staying illegally because I don't have a status?
No. I mean, no. So if you're unlawfully present, the consequences are mandatory, right? 6 months or more of unlawful presence is a bar to reentry of 3 years, mandatorily, right? But if you're out of status, which means you haven't reached the expiration date, but you've overstayed, then it becomes up to the discretion of whoever is receiving your application, whether it's at the consulate, whether it's at the airport, and it's not going to help. It's going to be hard. It's going to make things harder, right?
Yeah.
If that's a big number, so for in this case, if he overstayed by 3 days, okay, he left as soon as he could get his affairs in order, right? Not a huge deal. For 120 days, that's a big deal, right? Do you see the difference?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's very helpful too. That was good. Okay. When I apply for I-765, 485, I-130, when I'm in US and then travel to other country as my stamp OPT is expiring, would it affect the processing time as I'm not in the US anymore?
Yeah, and it's going to affect your I-45. Because, okay, so I'm assuming you're in F1 status. Your STEM OPT is expiring. You're applying for a green card. That's basically what this person is saying. When you apply for a green card, that's an adjustment of status, right? You cannot leave the U.S. until you receive your advanced parole. And I don't see the I-131 as one of the applications that you're applying for here. Maybe you meant that when you said I-130. But it's I-131. It's the advanced parole, and that's your travel document. And you cannot leave the U.S. until you receive that approved I-131 travel document, which can take up to a year, right? So if you leave the U.S. as day after you file this application, you're going to abandon the green card application.
Oh, Are there delays in regular H1B processing? Can I expect to get a
Yeah.
decision by October 1st?
They seem to be delayed. They're taking several months. So I don't know. I don't know anything about your case, Sanjay, but if you haven't received a decision by now, you have to look at processing times. You know how to do that. Check out it's Google USCIS processing times and use a drop-down kind of tool to figure out, what your service center is doing. But yes, I've been hearing of delays. So it could be another several months if you don't premium process.
I'm on H1B second term and have to fly to India to renew on a parallel line. So I have case file for perm. Can I have a change in salary, like a hike? Would that affect anything in my case?
No, perm and increased salary does not do anything to your visa stamping or H1B.
Nice. Okay. Am I allowed to work remotely outside United States while on F1 OPD? DSO mentioned it's not allowed by USCIS, but I can't find that rule online.
Yeah, because I don't think that's necessarily true. Your ability to work when you're outside the U.S. is not governed by U.S. immigration law, right? U.S. immigration law only has jurisdiction over you when you're physically in the U.S. Okay. That being said, if you get an OPT and then you're like, see you later, and you're gone for like 11 months, and then you come back in that last month, you're like, oh, I was working abroad. Nothing wrong with that. They're going to like question the veracity of your OPT intention in the first place. So there could be adverse consequences there, right? But if it's just for like a few weeks or something, it shouldn't be an issue.
On H1B, employment ended September 2nd. H4, F1, not an option. Should I move to B2 right away, or should I wait for last 2-3 weeks for grace period? Can we defend NTA if B2 change of status is not filed before receiving NTA?
My advice has changed once again on this. Just like back and forth real quick. Just given that we think NTAs are done for, I would probably do a B2 right away. I would apply for something right away. Because in case an NTA is issued, at least you have something in process, right? Having something in process is better than having nothing in process and relying just on the grace period by itself. And then if you have the pending B2, I still think for the most part, H1Bs are getting approved. Okay. Not a great situation. It's not perfect. But if it was me, I'd probably do a B2 right away. Unless you have like the prospect of getting an H1B right away. Like if you have like 5 interviews lined up, which I know it's not realistic for everyone, then that's different.
Yeah. I'm currently working. I think we already answered that. Any comment on why USCIS needs armed personnel for immigration? As you stated previously, USCIS has become full-blown enforcement agency. How do they have time for processing immigration application?
They don't need armed personnel. This is just another intimidation tactic by the administration to, once again, performative. We're going to show how tough we are. We mean business about immigration. What's a good way to make it look like we mean business? Let's give guns to USCIS officers. By the way, that's a violation of the rules. Congress enacted the Department of Homeland Security Act following 9/11. And in that act, they created USCIS and said USCIS can only do adjudications. They can't do enforcement, right? So this rule is actually a violation of that congressional act enacted by Congress. So I expect it to actually be challenged at some point when it becomes effective. But yeah, it's pretty scary. Like we have no idea what it means. Like even the lawyers are scared. We're going to walk into an interview, and if we upset the officer, we're going to get shot. I mean, what's happening here? So it's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like every USCIS officer. Like I think what they mean is there's some USCIS officers that go out in the field for like for citizenship. If you're going to apply for citizenship, like if you don't give them a good enough account of your good moral character, they want to go to the neighborhood and ask about you. I can see in those cases those officers carrying guns. Like I'm sure that would be a fun experience, right? So
doesn't sound fun for my neighbors. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm really worried. I'm working on the form. I looked at the form. It seems now easier. I think the biggest thing is I have to remember all of my travel dates. But it's only the travels after green card, right? After I've gotten green card.
Travel in the last 5 years after your green card. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're. I mean, yeah. For you, it's 5 years.
Yeah, I didn't get a conditional green card.
Yeah.
I directly got the 10-year
Yeah,
one.
that's usually the biggest hang up for most people. It's like, oh my God, all the travel dates, I have to go back and organize that. So that's the first thing I would do. The rest is fairly straightforward. But you do need to provide affirmative proof of your good moral character as opposed to the absence of bad moral character, right?
But that's
So
not in the form though.
no,
Like,
when you upload the application, when you submit the application, you want to upload this evidence, letters from give
searches.
them a bunch of letters so that they don't have to come to your neighborhood, basically.
Yeah. Crazy. Wow. Okay. And I'll give heads up to my neighbors as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on OPT right now, enrolled as a volunteer in an NGO. And my OPT ends February 2026. Can I travel to India? And if I get a job in USA while I'm in India before 2026, can I travel back?
You can technically, but whenever you're up against an expiration on your status, like an expiring OPT, traveling, especially on F1, traveling back towards the very end of it is problematic because F1 is non-immigrant intent, right? Meaning you're not supposed to have the intent to remain here. So if they see you coming here with like a month left on your OPT, it makes them feel less comfortable that you're actually going to leave once the OPT is over, right? So from that perspective, I think travel is a little bit risky, but it's been done, but it's risky.
Yeah. DHS has proposed eliminating duration of status for F1 visa and introducing a fixed maximum stay of 4 years. Even if my program lasts longer, has impact could it have on students? Especially, I want to get an F1.
What impact may they have? As we talked at the top of this podcast, we don't know for sure until we see the final rule. So what they're saying is, if your program lasts longer, you have to apply for an extension, just like you would for another visa or something. So,
and you don't have to get STEM necessarily, just an extension.
It's like applying for an H1B extension. It's just like applying for an F1 extension, which you don't have to do right now, right? You just get updated I-20s and update the CVIS record.
Yeah. Okay. But then in that case, would you have to go out and come back with a new stamp?
As far as we understand it, no, you don't have to. Remember, you only have to get a new stamp if you want to travel. This would be an in-country extension of status, but that's not required right now. The new rule would require that after 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Dear Yudi and Samir, my spouse has H4 visa. She got a graduate assistantship to pursue her PhD. Will she be able to apply for assistant to get stipend to cover her expenses? Is that necessary to apply F1?
And so Social Security number, what is that? Social Security number is basically a number given to those who are allowed to work in the U.S. Okay. So that you can start paying into your Social Security taxes, right? It's like forced retirement, right? So if she only has an H4 but not an EAD, she's not authorized to work. So she's not going to get a Social Security number. Okay. If she's getting a stipend to cover her expenses, query the school, does she need a social for that? Because she can't, I don't think you can get, or you need a social to apply for an F1. What if you've never been to the US and you're applying for an F1 for the first time? You're not going to have a social because you're not authorized to work. So no, you don't need a social necessary to apply for F1. So ask the school, what do they need to cover her expenses on a stipend? I don't think they need a social. At the very worst, you can apply for an individual tax ID number, which is a replacement alternative to Social Security number, if they need some sort of number. But I'm sure, just talk to the school. I'm sure they handle this all and deal with this all the time.
Okay. I'm currently on STEM OPT, which is expiring on June 2026. I'm not having great luck in terms of finding job that sponsors. I'm currently in research for a university. What are my options? Well,
I mean, you can continue school. You can start a company. I mean, this is less about your immigration options, more about like, what do you want to do career wise, work wise, life wise, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing you have to figure out. And then you can talk to a lawyer who can advise you what the immigration, avenues to those things are.
Yeah. I'm in F1 OPT and on health issues. I've been staying in India for around 90 days. Just wanted to know how long I can stay to maintain my status.
I'm sorry to hear that. So if you're in India and you've been out for 90 days, talk to your school, because I don't know if you need some sort of deferral, right? Some sort of like record entered into the CIVA system to let them know you're still active but unable to attend classes, right? Because there's that requirement that you're actively attending school and classes. So make sure you're just coordinating with your school. Don't ask us, ask them. Like, they're the ones who are supposed to administer to that for you.
Yeah. Okay. I received offer letter, my STEM OPT in July, but they didn't run my payroll. They said they wanted to see my work as it's a startup. So this month they're running the payroll. Are there any consequences? Oh my gosh.
So that's really fine that they want to say that. I mean, if they've signed off on the I-983, then they're basically lying under the penalty of perjury, because that's not what they're supposed to be doing, right? They're supposed to be paying you as they would pay a normal employee. Okay. So this is less of a problem for you than it's a problem for them. So I wouldn't be so concerned about you, other than, is this the right company for you? It sounds pretty uncool what they're doing.
Yeah. My employer has removed from job saying he cannot match the wages requirement after filing my perm. What's the question? I don't see a question. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Got my visa refused. Visa refused. My start date with the late arrival was 29th of August, and I attended interviews 22nd August at consulate. I had all documentation, but visa officer refused me. Will be because low window. Any word? I mean, basically, F1 visa got rejected. Is my guess. It's F1
Yeah.
visa.
So if you want to help on this question, tell us what kind of visa, right? Tell us what the officer said, and try to be a little bit more clear in your question, because it's hard for us to know the context. But if it's an F1, we don't know why. I mean, we don't know what happened at the interview. F1s are often refused, right?
Yeah.
If they don't believe you're going to come back to the U.S. So that's usually not to the U.S. Come back to your home country. That's usually the most common reason.
Yeah. For STEM OPD, can someone work at a startup that offers only equity, no salary, if the company is e-verified and completes Form 983?
That's a great question. So the company has to state, under the penalty of perjury, we talked a lot about DATSIS today, that the terms and conditions of your employment are commensurate with the terms and conditions applicable to their other similarly situated U.S. workers. Or if there's no more than two other workers, the terms and conditions of other workers in the area of employment. So it's going to be really hard to make the argument that it's normal to be offered equity and no salary to work for a company. So I would say it'd be a little dangerous and risky for you to do that.
Yeah. Okay. When I was on STEM OPT, I had a number, USCIS number on my EAD card, but from last year, I'm on H1B. I don't have any pending cases with USCIS. I'm filing AR11 change of address form online. My account is showing me my last STEM OPT A number and receipt number by default. Should I just remove A number since I don't have it and enter new?
No, the receipt number is not your A. So to be clear, what is an A number? An A number if you can imagine, go to the doctor's office and you have a file number. Your file number doesn't change with every condition you get, right? It's your file. It's your file number. It's how they keep you organized, right? And that's what the A number is. So regardless of what status you are, that's your A number. The only time it changes is when you go from non-immigrant, so visa, to immigrant when you have an I-140 filed. Then they have a different A number. But aside from that, it's the same A number. So an I-797 is a petition number. It's not your number. It's the number for the case, right? But if they're asking for the A number, you should always enter that if you have one, which you do, because it was on your OPT. So it's not specific only to the OPT. This is specific to you.
Gotcha. And so during green card process, I'm assuming, is that considered immigrant side, non-immigrant, immigrant?
Yeah. So like the I-140, for example, that's when people get a different A number. So in this case, Rahul would, if he had an I-140 filed on his behalf, then he would be given a different A number, and then that would become his A number.
Okay. Just to understand, why do you still suggest B2? Because even change of status, even when there are signs of NTAs disappearing, if there are
just in case. Like actually, so to be clear, my suggestion, if there was still NTAs, would be to leave. Leave the U.S. Okay, so this is my advice in relation to that. Okay, so now that I think there's no NTAs, I still think a B2, just in case it's happening, having a B2 is probably safe, but this is not absolute. Like I said, if you think you can try to get an H1B filed within the grace period, that could be a better option for you too. There is no black or white answer.
And he's expecting.
Yeah. So maybe a B2 wouldn't make sense. If you're expecting an offer, I would work in lockstep with your employer on that one, because they're the ones that are going to have to file the H1B. Okay. And you need to make life easy on them, and so that they can make life easy on you. Right. So yeah. So in that case, I wouldn't do the B2 if you expect to start the H1B process in 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, last question probably. I had one friend from Microsoft where his I-140 initial step is getting rejected because our fields are not related to AI. Do you have any comments on that?
There's a million different kinds of I-140s. I have no idea why this is happening. But you're getting maybe 1/10 of the story here. So you need the full story, and then we can comment on it.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of I-140? What was the case number? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I'm moving from company A to company B on H1B. Premium is in progress. My tentative start date is September 22nd, 2025. I plan to travel abroad October 21st to November 8th. Is it safe, and what documents should I carry?
Yeah. It's an H1B transfer. It should be safe. Hopefully you're traveling. Okay, first of all, check with your lawyer. Okay, so there are items here. There's data here that I don't know, that I need to know to kind of advise you legally. So I'm not advising you legally here because I don't have all information. So check with your H1B lawyer on this one. But generally speaking, it should be safe if you have the approval notice from the new transfer and proof of your employment. Maybe you have pay stubs, employment verification letter, and of course a valid unexpired visa stamp.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Samir. I think that was it for today. We'll see you next week. And I think soon we're going to do a couple of master classes. So we'll announce it next week.
Yep. Sounds great. Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.